Hello, everyone. Welcome to Team D's presentation. We had our case study analysis of Valencia Community College. Our group included Aaliyah Anderson, Brittany Black, Kelsey Bull, Natasha Edwards, and Alicia Ward. So in this case study, we'll start by looking at the components where we're going to outline the foundational elements of Valencia Community College's faculty development program and also factors that shaped its design. Then we'll move on to social justice, which is a crucial lens through which we evaluated the program. So we're going to explore how Valencia Community College approach approach the professional development and how this aligns to the Johns Hopkins School of Education's Disposition 3.1, which is commitment to fostering social justice, equity, and inclusion in their initiatives. And then following that, we're going to examine the key issues surrounding the strengths and weaknesses and address some areas where the program could improve. And then we'll wrap up with our plan of action that will provide recommendations for Valencia Community College and how they can enhance their professional development program moving forward. So, Nellis et al. 2001 examined the professional development initiative created by Valencia Community College. It was based on the fact that the student body of the college was becoming increasingly diverse. So, not only were they becoming more culturally diverse, but they were experiencing an increased number in first generation college students who they determined needed additional instruction to improve academic skills so that they could meet the demands of a college learning environment. So these changes prompted the leadership to design a professional development experience that could help faculty to present more culturally relevant and responsive teaching practices that would lead to improved student outcomes. Now, the leadership also aimed to help teachers incorporate technology into their traditional approaches for pedagogical strategies. And then they also aimed to change the design of the professional learning experiences so that teachers could shift their instruction toward a more active learning environment and active learning strategies that increase student collaboration and then improve also students' critical thinking skills. Valencia Community College recognized that it was not immune to the rapidly changing and evolution of the education landscape. So, with that, they're witnessing that there are continuous technological advances and increased student populations that are going to require their faculty to adapt their current practices in order to remain effective. So, to achieve this, the leadership at Valencia Community College developed a comprehensive faculty development program that was aimed at enhancing teaching practices and increasing student achievement. So, participants in this program included faculty members from various disciplines that included both veteran and novice instructors to create an environment of collaboration and where they could share expertise. This aligns with the standards for professional learning because it has an emphasis on collective responsibility when thinking about professional growth. Now, the purpose of the program was to increase the faculty's capacity to, again, address the changing needs of the school's demographic and the education landscape. So it wanted to address gaps in pedagogical skills and to ensure that the curriculum remained relevant. They wanted to empower their educators and they wanted to create innovative student-centered teaching approaches. Again, this aligns with the standards for professional learning because it emphasized that effective professional development is grounded in the teacher's understanding that it's relevant to their current practices, and it also builds on the teacher's current capacities in order to address student needs. So, Valencia Community College's program design featured a blend of professional learning activities. It had hands on work sessions where the focus was on active learning strategies. These sessions were hands on and they included technology integration and assessment techniques. The faculty were able to engage directly with the new teaching tools and the approaches. This aligns with the standards for professional learning designs because it promotes active engagement in problem solving as drivers for professional development. So they allow for real world application and real time integration into their teaching practices. Additionally, the design was faculty led. Now, this component involved the faculty working together to redesign the courses. The teams were led by faculty members, which allowed the educators to take ownership of their professional growth. It also promoted collaboration in the redesigning of the courses. Now, again, it aligns with the standards for professional learning because they emphasize the importance of teacher leadership in learning. So, since this program was faculty led, The faculty were able to not only deepen their own learning, but they also fostered a culture of shared leadership and shared collaboration so that they all take responsibility for the professional learning that was happening. And then finally, they instituted collaborative projects. So the program included where the faculty were mixed from different disciplines and also different experience levels. And so they were able to collaborate on initiatives and share their experience to kind of approach these challenges and identify what practices were working best. The element promoted the cross disciplinary collaboration. So the educators were allowed to learn from each other through their diverse experiences. Again, this aligns with professional learning standards because the standards highlight the power of learning communities where there's collective responsibility for improving practice.
This case study covered several of the professional learning standards. For curriculum, assessment, and instruction, educators engaged in 60 hours of training, research, and development to design high quality instructional materials to improve student learning, as cited on page 152. Faculty leaders also created innovations for curricular and instructional improvements. In the standard of culture of collaborative inquiry, faculty were organized into learning communities to encourage collaboration and continuous professional growth. As referenced on page 156 through 157, these communities facilitated shared experiences and allowed faculty members to engage in collective problem solving. In regard to resources, faculty received an access to a wealth of instructional resources, including online tools, teaching materials, technological support, and even financial compensation to help enhance their teaching effectiveness. Continuous support was also provided through follow up sessions and additional resources, ensuring that faculty had the opportunity to reflect on their practices and receive ongoing guidance. The university provided staff with resources to support faculty development by hiring full-time faculty development team and support staff members. And finally, the learning design, as referenced on page 154 through 155, involved a design team which created the courses and the student learning goals using the Wisconsin Instructional Development System to align student performance outcomes to course outcomes and the college's graduation competency metrics. This professional development design was created using a variety of research backed practices and approaches, which also included the Washington Center for Improving the Quality of Undergraduate Education and the Wisconsin Instructional Development System, as referenced on page 157. The standard of professional expertise focuses on ensuring equitable outcomes for all students through educators' development of the expertise needed for their specific roles. Throughout this program, faculty members expanded their instructional abilities and pedagogical practices. On page 158, the authors outline the four key concepts the program content was rooted in: critical thinking, diversity and inclusion, developmental advising, and assessment. The program was designed to align and apply standards to teaching and learning products. Faculties on design teams received 60 hours of training on research, curriculum development, activities, workshops, and course revision and development. The outcomes were assessed using Cobb's 1984 experimental learning model. For equity foundations, this standard focuses on ensuring learning results lead to equitable outcomes for all students. This program was designed with the goal of improving the college retention and completion rate of first time college students, as cited on page 150. This is a specific group within the school that they had noticed had lower academic performance. The standard of evidence focuses on the use of student data from multiple sources to measure the impact of the professional learning. Throughout, the program emphasized the importance of data driven decision making. Faculty were encouraged to collect and analyze student performance data to inform their teaching practices, as referenced on page 158 through page 160. And finally, in the leadership standard, the program empowered faculty members to take on leadership roles within their departments, promoting a culture of shared responsibility and innovation in teaching practices.
Valencia College's professional learning program demonstrates a commitment to fostering social justice, aligning with several aspects of Disposition 3.1. The program's focus on inclusive teaching strategies and equity in education was evident through its goal in developing the new curricula to address the needs of historically marginalized and first-generation college students. It included training on culturally responsive teaching and workshops on bias awareness and intervention techniques. And it also developed resources and advising strategies to support diverse learners. The professional learning program's core content focused on diversity, and the student learning outcomes that were the foundation of the program were based on Valencia's student core competencies, which emphasize values related to diversity and inclusion. These align with Disposition 3.1's goal of empowering self and others to identify opportunities for growth towards excellence and equity. However, the program fell short in two critical areas. It didn't have enough data collection and assessment to actually verify achievement of diversity and inclusion goals. And it also had limited opportunities for faculty to reflect on their own privileges and prejudices and to examine stereotypes and cultural biases in the new educational materials they were producing. So the program took significant steps toward fostering social justice and empowering growth towards equity, but there was room for improvement in self-reflection and the systematic evaluation of its impact on these.
Key issues specifically focused on strengths are around four different professional learning standards. One would be the culture of collaborative inquiry. So, through the development of learning communities, participants were able to build a really supportive network among faculty through workshops that were also online, as well as really fostering a culture of collaboration through different ways like design teams. Additionally, leadership as a standard was really leaned into in terms of the design with faculty leaders and co-leaders as well as design team members, really resulting in empowerment of faculty, which really led them to take charge of that professional development, ultimately leading to innovative practices. And so much of that, because of that empowerment and that efficacy, really led to those practices. The third professional learning standard being resources. So this was a strength because of the sustained opportunities and ongoing resources and follow-ups that ensured that learning was sustainable and not a one-time event, and that it was a continuous journey of improvement. And then also evidence. And within evidence as a specific learning standard, that really focused on research and data, the use of data to inform practices, and making evidence-based or taking evidence-based actions was able to happen. Key issues in terms of areas of opportunity really are around three standards for professional learning. So first would be equity practices and drivers, specifically around the practices for selecting faculty leaders. And those were selected by admin rather than including volunteers or non-volunteers, that the faculty selected them as well as the students. The second standard at play is resources and learning design. And there is a need for customization. So specifically, some faculty felt that the program's offerings were too generalized and did not adequately address the unique challenges of their specific disciplines. It wasn't discipline specific enough, really kind of limiting the applicability of the skills that were learned. And then thirdly was implementation, really around kind of reflection and engagement in that reflection for continuous improvement. So there was limited time allocation. Many participants reported that the time provided was insufficient, leading to challenges to apply new strategies effectively. And then also reflection on assessment methods. So while the initiative focused on those student outcomes, there was insufficient emphasis on evaluating the impact of those to really close the loop of the improvement cycle.
The program's professional learning outcomes showed that faculty reported a higher use and awareness of the teaching, learning, and advising strategies developed. In a sample of 12 faculty examining pre and post professional learning student outcomes, it improved their student pass and retention rates. Also, in pilot testing of the redesigned courses with data collection, it showed a 12% increase in passing rates and a 9% jump in retention rates for students when compared to students in non-pilot courses. The program's research-backed design included and reflected the standards of professional learning through its multi-year development approach, which was funded by a U.S. Department of Education grant. It had an outcomes-based focus on redesigning curriculum and teaching methods, and it focused on performance-based instruction and active learning approaches to meet student needs. It had a collaborative year-long structure with faculty leaders, co-leaders, and design teams at the helm, and it had an overall emphasis on critical thinking, diversity, advising, assessment, and the integration of technology. The program showed documented improvements in faculty use and awareness, student passing rates, and retention, but it also had a couple of limitations. It took 5 years for one cycle of implementation, so it fell short of creating a continuous improvement cycle. It also wasn't designed to operationalize the equity goals it outlined, and it lacked discipline-specific customization in the resources provided to faculty. Overall, this case highlights the need for balancing innovative approaches with adequate implementation time, robust assessment of faculty impact, inclusive selection and evaluation processes, and sustainable funding and improvement cycles.
So, what are our plan of actions according to the learning standards outlined by Learning Forward 2022 and other texts from the class? Our first would be make the program more customizable, and this is accordance with standard of the learning communities, which says establishing collaborative environments where educators can engage with ongoing education, learning, and reflection. Our recommendation would be to develop tailored sessions for different departments, focusing on specific challenges and subject area needs. The justification is customization fosters relevance, allowing for faculty to engage with materials that directly impact teaching and context. Another action item would be extended time, which falls under the standard of resources. So, time for implementation, resources say ensuring that access to are equitable resources, which include time, funding, and materials to support effective professional learning. Our recommendation would be to increase the duration of workshops, include more time for practical application and reflection. The justification would be extended engagement allows faculty experiment with a refined teaching practices, according to Martin et al. 2014. The next item would be enhanced assessment methods. This standard would be data, which says utilizing data to inform and guide professional learning initiatives, ensuring that they are responsive to the needs of the educators and to the students. Our recommendation would be to implement a comprehensive evaluation tool, such as a pre and a post survey for the focus groups, and classroom observation to gather more feedback that's detailed. The justification is robust data collection allows us to make continuous improvement and understand the program's effectiveness. Next would be to incorporate teacher leaders for professional development. Again, that is also the standard of data. The recommendation is that teacher leaders facilitate professional learning sessions and support colleagues in implementing new strategies. And the justification is this provides relatable insights and context-specific guidance, which fosters collaboration and shared expertise amongst the faculty and educators. Educators can learn from one another as peers to understand the peers' challenges and what has been successful. Next, we would incorporate peer observations, which is from the Learning Forward standard of learning designs, which says creating intentional and well-structured professional learning experiences that are relevant and impactful. Our recommendation would be to establish a peer observation system, and the justification is this promotes collaboration and growth, but also it helps a shared gain of best practices with one another. Our next plan of action is fostering inclusive participation, which comes from the standard of equity drivers. Equity, speaking to the recommendation of ensuring that all staff members have equal access to participate in professional developmental sessions rather than the ones that were just selected by leadership. And the justification is participation from all creates a richer dialogue. It fosters a sense of community, but it also strengthens
the community by making sure that everyone's voice is included in an innovative and equitable solution, as evidenced by Martin et al. 2014. We also would incorporate feedback mechanisms for improvement cycles. The standard would be leadership cultivating leaders who promote and support high quality professional learners. The recommendation would be to close the loop of improvement cycle by integrating a feedback throughout the professional learning process. And the justification is this approach ensures that the design is responsive, adaptive, continuous, and ongoing, with enhancements based off of the stakeholders' input. And lastly, we would include equity, which in the assessment and the evaluation tools. And again, the standard would be equity. The recommendation is that we develop an explicit structure and accountability measures to ensure that equitable access to learning and assessment tools. And this includes addressing the self-bias of the participants, setting clear equity expectations, and fostering a diverse collaborative community amongst the colleagues. And the justification is implementing these measures during the process includes reflection, it includes fairness, and it promotes inclusivity and creating an equitable learning outcome. And please see our references. We did incorporate the standards from Learning Forward 2022, the standards for professional learning, but we also included many other texts from the coursework as well. Thank you.